Hey there, it's Alan. Time for a random tea update. I've been on testosterone for 2 years and 8 months, and I haven't had a lot of changes recently. It's just what I've mentioned before, like the very gradual increase of body hair and facial hair, which I don't have that much of, but it's gradually increasing. I did just shave yesterday, so there's nothing to see, but there's not a whole lot to see even when I haven't shaved for a few days, because it's light and rather sparse, especially on the sides. Um, so something that I've noticed increasing that's sort of funny is this little patch of long-ish hairs on both of my elbows here. I did mention this in a previous video quite a while back, but it's just funny how now, instead of just a few sort of long hairs, it's like a patch, like a little area of longer hairs, which is just funny. And you can't see that because the hair is not very dark, and then there's the sunlight, and yeah. But it's just kind of funny. And so I don't think that I've been losing hair despite my paranoia, which is nice. I do think that my hairline in the corners has gone back very gradually. I think it has gone back more in recent times, but I'm not worried about that. I mean, I like that. I have no problem with that at this time. Um, and so for the first couple years of being on T, I had a fair bit of shoulder acne, and that has decreased a little. I mean, I still have some, but it's just like a couple here and there. But I've had an increase of acne on my back, which I did not really have in the beginning of my transition, but now I do have some. It's nothing extreme at all, it's just some isolated ones here and there, but still, I don't really like it, even though I'm glad that it's pretty minimal. So I'm hoping and expecting that that will go away because, um, for the first several years, if not the first 5 years or something, of being on T, you're still kind of in a puberty mode, even though you tend to have the major puberty events like within the first couple of years. Um, yeah, so I hope that the acne will go away. Um, Speaking of acne and appearance issues, I'm a little sleep deprived right now, which is why I don't look that good, but I don't care about that. Um, let's see. So, I think that's about it. Well, my muscle mass and definition has been increasing a little bit, which I really like, although I think that's more just a product of actually exercising regularly in the last couple months, whereas I did not have time to exercise as much as I wanted to for months before that. Um, so I wanted to say a word about hormone levels in case that is interesting or useful for anyone. So about a month or two ago, I had my female hormones, the estradiol, I don't know how you pronounce that. I had that tested as part of my blood work, which it seems I had not had that measured since sometime in the first year of my transition. And now I'm 2 years and 8 months. And so I have not heard anything from my doctor about that. She said she would get back to me after my blood work, but she never did. I haven't asked her because I feel like I have an understanding of it as an educated person who's looked into all this business. Plus, I got the printed out results from the place that did the blood work, and it said by the estradiol levels. So mine are it was like 100 something, it was like, I don't know, 110, something like that, which is pretty much just straight up in the female range. The male range is supposed to be something like in the single digits. So apparently I have more female hormones than I should, although I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing because I hadn't been having any negative effects, like no period, no pains down there. I've been feeling okay emotionally, um, but I figure it's probably not a good idea to have like somewhat high levels of both male and female hormones, and um, like what if that keeps going and my period does eventually come back? That would really suck. And and then also, what if that's slowing down certain aspects of my transition? I mean, I feel fine with my physical changes. Like, um, I look male, I sound male, I like how I look, so I don't have problems with that. And there could be a benefit, you know? What if having some female hormones is helping to prevent me from going bald right now? Uh, so I have mixed thoughts about that. But I thought it was probably not so good. Now, my testosterone levels were in a perfectly fine range, like 600 something, I think, which is fine. Um, so, yeah, I did unilaterally decide to up my testosterone dose in hopes of reducing, kind of like overpowering the female hormones so that I wouldn't run into any potential issues or discomforts as a result of having more female hormones than would be ideal. And I had been on what my doctor considered to be a low dose of testosterone for most of the time that I've been transitioning. I've been on 0.25 per week of the 200 whatever per milliliter of testosterone, which means how many like milligrams or something? That's like okay, there's 200 per milliliter and I have a quarter of that. So that's 50 milligrams, I guess, of testosterone per week, whereas a lot of guys have twice that. So I think it would be bad if I had twice that, because that's what I started out with at the very beginning. And my testosterone levels were like 1,000 something or 1,100 something or maybe even 1,200 something. I forget. But it was like over the limit where it was a little bit out of the healthy range. And I did feel kind of like uh, I did not feel ideal. So I reduced it way back in the beginning there. Well, my doctor told me to reduce it. And so my T levels have been fine. Maybe kind of in the middle of the normal range, but maybe a little lower than the middle of normal. Um, so I was like, well, I'll raise it a little bit. So I decided to bump it up to zero point 0.3, which is like, I can't do the math right now on the spot, but it's like a bit more than 50 milligrams. I don't know, 60, 70, something like that. So that's been going on for only several weeks. I don't think that I feel any different. Um, I have actually noticed a little bit more, like a little bit more hair on the front region here, but it's only like a little bit more. No one else could notice a difference except for me. And who knows, maybe that would have happened even if I hadn't raised the dose. Maybe it's just part of the gradual increasing of the hair. So it'll be interesting to get blood work again sometime. I have an appointment with my hormone doctor in May, which is in just a few months. It's February now. So based on the fact that I had such high female hormones, I would imagine that she would have me get more blood work after that appointment. So I will have more information later on. And I guess related to these hormone things. It makes me think about, well, that as well as other issues, makes me think about the topic of getting a hysterectomy. So, in the beginning of my transition, I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna get a hysterectomy. Like, I don't want that stuff. I don't need it. I'll just get rid of it. Uh, then I won't have to worry about it at all. And, I still, of course, see the benefits of getting rid of it so I don't have to worry about what's going on with those organs, and I won't have to run into any problems like having random pains or something. And then I would not have any chance of ever having a period, which would be really amazing. But then, it's like, I don't even think about those organs normally. They're not in front of my face, they're not doing anything bad right now, so it kind of seems a little sketchy to have the surgery and go through that risk. I mean, I know that hysterectomy is a pretty run-of-the-mill surgery, I guess, because those OBGYNs do it repeatedly on people, so they know what they're doing, and it's not the most intense surgery. But I still do feel scared, and it's like, do I really want to do that if I don't absolutely have to? Because whenever you're getting cut into your internal organs, there's always risk for something, even if you're not really likely to have complications. Things can happen. And then there's also the recovery time and just all of that. Surgery always takes a toll. So that would suck. Um, but, yeah, but I would probably have, well, obviously, I would have less female hormones if I had the surgery, and that would just be good in itself. And then also, maybe I could, like, go back to 0.25 milliliters of testosterone rather than the zero point 0.3 or something. Not that that's a huge difference, but it's always good to be putting in less foreign matter into your body so it doesn't have to process so much. Yeah. And then, so, let me see if I can explain this quickly. So, a year and a half ago, I went to this trans conference, and there was a talk by an OBGYN in the San Francisco area who does a lot of work with FTMs, actually. So she's an expert on hysterectomies in FTMs. And it is a little different than hysterectomies on cisgender women because testosterone kind of like makes the organs a little, I don't know, shriveled or whatever. So there's some special knowledge that goes with it. And so she said that you might consider keeping one ovary because that can give you like a little bit of female hormones. And cisgender men do have a little bit of estrogen or whatever. Um, as with cisgender women who have, or people whose natural system is female hormones, they have a little bit of testosterone. That's how it's supposed to be. So you might have a better balance of hormones if you keep one ovary. And then also, she said it might be the case that having one ovary, meaning at least a little bit of female hormones, can help protect against heart disease to some degree, which sounds good to me. And she also said, which I've heard elsewhere, that most ovarian cancer begins in the fallopian tubes and then moves to the ovaries. So if you get a hysterectomy, even if you leave in one ovary, they would take out the fallopian tubes as well as the uterus and so forth. So that would drastically limit your ovarian cancer risk, even if you were keeping one ovary. So I like the sound of that. And I would probably try to get a hysterectomy with her, since I'm only like 3 or 4 hours away from where she is in the San Francisco Bay Area. And she seems like really an expert. And just in case you're wondering, her name is Catherine with a K. Catherine T, middle initial T, Hsiao, which is Hsiao. Yeah, so even though I have mixed feelings about hysterectomy, I might contact her soon. And a lot of the reason for that actually is with the just unbelievable dystopian political situation that we have in the United States right now. It looks like my health care, which is through the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, it looks like it will probably get taken away. So, I feel like I should do this big stuff while I have insurance, which would mean within this year, probably. So I might look into having a hysterectomy like over my winter break from teaching, like next December or this December. So I might look into that. Um, so yeah, those are my thoughts. Oh, bright. Um, yeah, so let me know if you have any comments, questions. Um, yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.